Good morning. Well, hello and welcome back to another Blue Yonder video. Today's video is about this, the Triumph Trident 660, and whether it might just be the perfect bike for modern road riding. Let's get into the video and discuss. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by modern road riding. We live in a world increasingly inhabited by average speed cameras, ULEZ zones, that type of thing. And what that means is that 150 horsepower, 150 miles an hour motorcycles, outright power and performance, really just can't be used on the modern road system. So bikes like this might make far more sense. Well, the first thing to say about the Trident 660 is that, in my opinion, the bike is mislabeled. How often do you see on reviews the reviewers talking about the fact it's a stepping stone bike, or it's great for somebody who wants their first big bike, it's great for shorter riders, blah 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 blah, and you know, people just repeat and parrot what people have said before, and that really does this bike a disservice. So what is the Trident then? Well, I think it's a modern sports roadster, a lightweight, naked sports bike. And I think for modern road riding, it's absolutely ideal. So let's get into the first thing that is really significant about this bike. And it's the cheat code for the bike, and that's the engine. Now, the Trident produces 80 brake horsepower and 64 newton meters of torque. But the crucial thing is that torque is a very flat torque curve, and indeed 90% of the available torque is there from just over 3,000 revs, 3,500 revs. So what that transpires to is that you know, the bike has got instant thrust. The Triumph have also geared it fairly short. And that's great for initial acceleration off the line. But one of the things we bikers really do like is a really nice sounding bike, isn't it? A nice sounding engine. And this one, it sounds fantastic. Let's have a listen. So as we heard, it's got that real distinctive Triumph howl, and it's quite addictive. It's something you really do like to get the engine singing just to hear. So between 6,000 and 7,000 revs, as I say, when the engine's really coming alive, the bike sounds just awesome. Well, it's okay, isn't it, having the performance, but you've got to have the handling to go with it if you're really going to enjoy the bike. So let's talk about the handling and the braking on the bike. Now, in terms of suspension, the bike isn't exactly dripping bling. We've got upside down forks, Showa upside down forks, but they're non-adjustable. But again, however Triumph have set these up, they've done a really good job, because they are really in that zone where they're just right. They're absolutely spot on for brisk road riding. The steering rake on the bike is 24.6 degrees, and it's generally considered that anything less than 25 degrees is quite sporty. And aligned to a fairly short wheelbase of 1401 millimeters, that makes the bike feel very sprightly. It's very eager to turn in. The rear shock, just preload only adjustment, but again, for my weight, I'm approximately 73, 74 kilos, I find that it's set up just right. And as I say, again, you've got lots of control, it's well damped, it does the job. And finishing off the handling package are these Michelin Road 5 tyres. They really suit the bike well, and for my money, the Road 5s and the Road 6s are probably the best road going tyres you can buy. Okay, so here we are on the Blue Yonder handling course. It's a fairly shortish section of road, about 4 or 5 miles, but we've got a real good cross section of roads. We've got fast roads like this that are fairly well surfaced, and then we've got some fairly tight flick-flack switchbacks. So let's see how the Trident handles it, shall we? Let's go.
So as we saw there, the Trident handles the fast stuff really well. So let's try some of these tight flick flacks now, shall we? So there you have it, the Trident along the Blue Yonder handling course. How do you think it did? I think the bike handles with aplomb. I think it took the fast stuff, nice and quick turning, stable. But as you probably saw, a couple of times on some of the bends, I had to adjust my line because there was dirt or stones or gravel on the line I was looking to take through the bend. But the bike, she's so agile and nimble, she will allow you to actually adjust your line and then turn back in. So that is something that we all look for, I think, in a bike, that sort of nimbleness, that agility, and this bike has it in spades. Just let that car pull ahead and we will do a brake test. Okay. The brakes are good, they're adequate, but they're not the best feature of this bike. So although, as you saw there, the brakes are reasonably good, they are twin piston Nissin calipers axially mounted on the front and a single piston Nissin caliper on the back. And although, as I say, they're reasonably up to the job, they're not really in tune with the rest of the package. The rest of the package is right on the money. For me, the brakes are a little bit lacking.
Blimey, British weather. 1 minute it's sunny and hot, the next minute it's cloudy like it is now, so it's jacket on, jacket off time. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a chat about the gearbox, shall we? Now, the gear change is excellent, but one thing to note is that the bike is quite short geared. So when you are making progress, when you are really riding the bike fairly hard, you're using the gearbox a lot. If you're going to buy one of these bikes new, one of the things you really should specify is the quick shifter. So the other ace that this bike can play is its accessibility. It's got a really nice low seat height at I think it's 805 millimeters, although actually it feels less than that. Lightweight, it's only 189 kilos fully fueled. That's the weight. So it's a really nice, light, easy bike to handle. So when you're pushing it around the garage or on the drive, or when you're finding somewhere to park while you're out, the bike is so easy. And let's face it, we all want a stress-free life. Okay, so let's talk about the looks of the bike. I think it's actually a really good looking package. And as I was saying earlier, it's a sports roadster, a lightweight sports roadster, but it's quite difficult to actually pigeonhole and define. I mean, if you look at it, it's not a roadster. It's a little bit like the Honda CB650R and 1000R, which they call a Neo Cafe Sport Roadster. I think it's a really good looking package. It's quite distinctive. It's going its own way, and in an era of pointy insect-like headlights, you know the kind of thing I mean. I think this is really smart, and I think it's got a real character, and it looks superb. And I particularly like the black. Fit and finish on the bike is usual Triumph high standard. I'm not sure whether these bikes are made in Thailand or whether they're made in the UK, but wherever they're made, they've done a really good job. I think as I say, I think the fit and finish is excellent. It's easily up there with much more expensive bikes. And let's talk about the price. You can pick these up in the UK brand new for 7,825. That's the full-on retail price, which, considering all the things that are included on the bike as standard, I think are really good. So let's go through some of those, shall we? Now, again, another really good feature of the Trident is that it features LED headlight and daytime running lights and LED indicators, and they're extremely bright. Let's have a look at them. Now, as you can see, they're extremely bright, and when I've been following people, when we've stopped, generally people say how bright the headlight is. We'll just have a quick resume on the TFT, because quite frankly you could do a whole video on the TFT. There's quite a bit of functionality to it. Okay, TFT, as you can see, it's a nice circular design. Some people don't like it, or are slightly critical of it. I think it's a really nice design. I think it's classy. I think it's quite different. You've got a mixture of LCD and TFT. This is your intelligent bit, the TFT bit, and of course you've got your idiot lights, warning lights around there. Control is through these jog buttons here. You can scroll through the menus, and then if you see down here, if I press that, it gives you your riding modes. So we've only got 2 riding modes on the Trident 660, road and rain. One of the other features of the Trident's TFT dashboard display is that it gives you the option of connectivity. So that's connectivity to your mobile phone and to your GoPro, which I think is a really good feature. And that can be retrofitted for approximately £300. Now, the bike is probably envisioned as being short journeys only, 50, 60 miles Sunday morning ride, but actually it's much more capable than that. So can it tour? Well, let's have a look at that, shall we? The short answer is yes, the bike can tour. Maybe it's not the most obvious touring machine, but it can do it. And I'll give you some real world examples. As I said earlier, I went to the Isle of Man TT this year, and I took this bike. And I took this bike for a number of reasons, mainly because I knew it would be fun when I got there, and also because it's light and manageable. The bike can do 60 miles to the gallon. Fuel tank capacity is only, I think it's just shy of 14 litres, so it's not a big tank. And you'd think that that would be a bit of a constraint, and it kind of is. However, I'll give you a real world example of what this bike's capable of. On that ride to the TT, from my home to where I was staying in Castletown on the Isle of Man, it's 147 miles. Now, I brim filled the bike before I went. Now, when I got to Castletown, 147 miles later, the fuel light still hadn't come on. It's still got 30-40 miles still within it. So it's got a really good realistic range of at least 160-170 miles. And let's be fair, that's pretty good. In terms of comfort, the riding position actually is pretty good. It's not too much of a stretch to the bars. They're a nice width. The seat doesn't actually look much, but actually the seat is pretty good. The first day I got the bike, I rode 100 miles. I thought I'd take the long way home. And I have to say, I got off the bike and I thought, have I made a mistake? Because the seat didn't feel that good at that particular time. But whether or not my bottom has adjusted to the seat or the seat has adjusted to me, I don't know. But now I find it incredibly comfortable. And as I say, on those long rides to the TT in the Isle of Man and other long rides that I've done on the bike, it's actually been extremely good, and it's quite comfortable. For me, the Trident just brings the raw pleasure of riding back. It's a fun bike with a capital F. It goes well, it handles superbly, it's quite comfortable, it's very versatile and extremely usable, and it's not intimidating to any riders. And as I say, anybody can really enjoy this bike. It's cheeky, it's got a real personality, the engine is an absolute peach, and it's cheap to run. Did we mention 10,000 mile service intervals? You know, the bike is really ticking all the boxes. So, in conclusion then, is the Trident 660 the ideal bike for 2024's roads? I think it is. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Okay, so thank you for watching, and until the next time, please remember, keep it shiny side up, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now. See ya.